Hello again, ICT101 students. As I promised in class, I was going to post two videos, and most of you I see viewed the first video that I posted, and I did put links to it in the announcement area, and then in that video is also housed here as well. That video is really important to watch because it does cover a lot about the basics and the foundation of our study over the next 4 weeks. So really getting a good understanding of what's covered in Chapter 1 through viewing the PowerPoints, through reading if you have a textbook, and through viewing this video is going to be very helpful for you over the next course of the weeks coming. So what I want to do in this video is cover really 3 areas, and those 3 areas are here. So kind of giving you a brief overview of primary versus secondary sources and tertiary sources, briefly touch on that, and then discuss with you a little bit about what it is that you have to do for this primary, secondary, tertiary sources discussion area. And I see some of you already posted in there, and that's great. And then go over the exercise that's related to chapters 1 and 2. Again, just to reemphasize here, you do not need the textbook to complete this and do well on it. Our discussions in class, the video that I put up, and the PowerPoints will give you sufficient enough information to do well on the exercise. So let's start with primary versus secondary versus tertiary sources. So really, when you're talking about getting information for academic purposes, you're usually getting it from one of 3 means, and that would be primary sources. Either you as students or as researchers are doing the research, the work yourself, or you witness something happening and you are now documenting what you saw. That's kind of first-hand information, whether that be resources, whether it be some event that took place, but that's usually considered primary source information, meaning you witnessed it. If you're a researcher, you're doing a survey as a student on the beliefs of paying for parking as students at Mount Aloysius College, and you want to get some information from other students to see how they feel. You're doing the research yourself through a survey, and then you are then publishing your results, whether that be on a school blog or some social media site, whatever, or you're writing a paper about it. That is firsthand primary source information. Okay, secondary sources are then sources where they are referring to somebody else's work. So it can be, you're doing research and you're reporting on the research that was done from others. So now you're secondary from it. You removed one from it because you're not actually doing the research. However, you're reporting on the research. So you're reporting from the primary research your findings. Okay. So that's secondary sources. And then tertiary sources are typically sources of a compilation of publications. So if you think of encyclopedias or other compendia that kind of sum up secondary and primary sources as well. So if someone is, if there were a bunch of people that wrote on the March on Washington and they weren't actually there, but they're reporting on it based on, historical publications, so their research is based on other work. So now you're putting together a bunch of articles into one maybe anthology that you're creating. And so that work that's in that anthology is considered tertiary because it's really the compilation of a bunch of secondary sources. Okay, so what I want you to do here, and I'm going to jump back out here to the home page, is in your discussion I want you to find a video. So my sense is that you'll probably watch a couple of videos. So go out to YouTube and do a search for primary and secondary, tertiary sources. See what you come up with. There's a lot of good videos out there. And that's why I wanted you to kind of start to think about finding information and YouTube videos are a good source of information. However, and this is what we'll discuss in class the coming week here, is how do we determine whether information is good information, bad information? How do we make that determination? So what I want you to do as you're going through this exercise of finding a video, and I'll just read it to you right here. So you're going to find a video related to primary, secondary, tertiary sources, and then you're going to post a link here in this thread. So the guideline that I'm giving you here is to post a video under 15 minutes. Most of them are. But what I also want you to think about is, how do you tell if that video that you're posting is a good video? How do you tell if it's giving us good, reputable information, or if it's really bad? So what are some things that you can think of as you're looking through this? And if you come across one that is really bad, and then you come across one that's really good, what made you pick the one that you think is really good? What was it that was good about it? Was it simply production of the video, or was it something else? Okay, so post your videos here, and then we're going to have some follow-up discussion in class about this. So I see some good stuff already being posted here. And typically you can embed these right in here, either as a small, embed them small or large. Large is usually better, or medium, just because of the way that it'll play within the window. So that's this exercise, the discussion in full, really. It is pretty simple and pretty straightforward, but I really want you to begin to think about, how do you find good videos? What are good videos in terms of the information that's being presented? Okay, so we'll follow up again in class on Tuesday about that one. And then the last one I want to cover here is the chapters 1 and 2 exercise. This, again, it's that quiz feature, and it's only because it's such a good, rich feature for completing these exercises. So I'm going to go over a little bit, again, kind of in terms of the structure of this, like we covered in class last week. So let's click on Take the Quiz. It's an exercise. Remember, this is open book, everything. You can use notes. You can use anything that you have. You can do Google searches for this stuff. I'm not concerned where you get the information. So the structure of this is, you'll be able to see 2 scroll bars here. One is related to the questions themselves. So there are 11 questions that are posted here. You can skip through the questions here, or you can skip through the questions here. They're presented all on one page, so you can scroll down and answer question 3 first if you want to. It doesn't matter what order you answer them in. What matters is that you make sure that all of them are answered by the time you get to the bottom and you click Submit Quiz. Okay. The other thing that I want to show you, again, I'll just briefly go over this. I'm just going to slap some answers in here so I can show you this quickly. Okay, so here I'm going through, I did a few questions, and what I don't want to do is, because I don't want to submit this yet, because I'm not finished, and I don't want to have to do the questions that I already completed over again. So if I get 5 of the questions done, and if you submit it, what's going to happen, again, if you submit here, what's going to happen is it's going to submit those 5 questions, it's going to give you a grade based on what you got right out of those 5, and then that's going to be your grade. Now, you're going to want to retake it, because if you get 4 out of the 5 correct, that means your score is 4 out of 11 here, okay? So actually it's 10 points. A bunch of them are half points, so it's a total of 10 points. But the point is that if you submit it, you're going to, when you come back in to retake it again, because again, you can retake these over and over again. If you come back in to retake this, what's going to happen is that all of your information that you submitted is going to be gone. So my recommendation is to just click out of here again. So you click out outside of, I can't get my mouse to work here. So you click outside of the test area. Just bear with me a second here. My mouse is hung up a little bit here. So if I can get it to work, there it is. So I'm going to click outside of here. I click outside, you're going to get this message. You're about to navigate away from this page. Continue anyway. Okay. And then what happens then when you come back into the quiz again, I'll show you quickly. You come back in here to retake this exercise again. Pardon my language there. So I resume it, and then now what I'm doing is I'm going back in, and my answers that I put in there are already there. So that's the important thing: submitting versus jumping out of the quiz area. So click on Home, and then just click OK, and that's it. And that's all I want to cover. I want to try to keep this brief. Have a good rest of your weekend. I'll talk to you later. Bye.